From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Choosing judges. New rules govern how it will happen in the future. This morning, we'll look at how it was handled in the past.
As the temperature climbs, so do the risks to student athletes in practice. I'm Anthony Pura with more on the warning signs for heat-related health dangers.
6:30 on this Friday. Chet Lehman, Matt Elwell with you here. A timely look at that story there. Some ugly situations that have happened in the country there. It is going to be hot, it is going to be dry, and we need to take care of ourselves.
We do, and air quality is not great across the West, but we're going to see it get worse as we go through the weekend. Good for Bozeman and Dillon for our air quality right now, moderate in Butte and West Yellowstone. Our temperatures are holding pretty comfortable right now. Now, as we look into the afternoon, our temperatures are going to build back into the mid to upper 80s. It's going to be a day full of heat and smoke for the afternoon, actually a weekend of heat and smoke. You notice those temperatures staying into the 80s. We're talking 90s for Sunday and Monday, but a big shift in our pattern early next week.
Forgot that laptop stand has that
rubber. Is that what
no,
that
that's
was?
what that squeaky noise was. Yes, my laptop stand. Dragging it across the deck. 6:31 now. Yesterday, we looked at the change in the law that gives Republican Governor Greg Gianforte broader power to appoint judges to fill vacancies in the state judiciary. The governor and legislative Republicans said the change was needed in part because the old system had helped Democratic governors pack the courts with liberal judges. That's primarily a reference to former Governor Steve Bullock, who made 28 judicial appointments, half of the state's entire judiciary. This morning, in the second of our two-part series, MTN's chief political reporter Mike Dennison examines who the former governor appointed to the bench.
Governor Gianforte says trial lawyers in Montana greatly influenced the old process to get their colleagues appointed as judges. I spoke with Al Smith, the executive director of the Montana Trial Lawyers Association, who said that 20 years ago, the group did begin encouraging members to apply for appointment to open judgeships, partly because it felt Montana's judiciary had become overweighted with former prosecutors.
We just felt that it would be good to get people that have experience in civil cases, that can work efficiently, know how to run a courtroom.
Trial lawyers generally represent people who've been injured or wronged in accidents or by corporations or government. MTN News examined the background of Bullock's 28 judicial appointments. 9 of them were members of the Trial Lawyers Association at the time of their appointment. But Bullock also appointed 8 judges who'd worked as prosecutors, at least 6 who were public defenders or did criminal defense work, and 9 who'd worked in various types of civil law.
There were individuals that I believed had the background, no matter what that background had been, to give everybody that came before them a fair hearing. And I think that's what Montanans expect out of the judiciary.
He also appointed the first openly gay district judge in Montana and 12 women to the bench.
Because Governor Bullock had the opportunity to appoint so many people, he also had an opportunity to kind of increase the diversification. There's kind of a better balance, I guess, male and female. Individuals who come before the court want a judge who looks like them and who understands their life and their perspective and their hardships.
Almost all of his appointees have been reelected, too. And half the state's judiciary got on the bench through election to begin with, without appointment by any governor. But are Bullock's appointees liberal judges? District Judge John Brown of Bozeman chaired the Judicial Nomination Commission when it vetted and chose the finalists for Bullock's last 14 judicial appointments.
And the kind of questions we asked the candidates had nothing to do about politics. We're concerned about about their temperament. Did they have a general understanding of the law? Were they willing to assume the obligations of being a district court judge? Because it's a hard job.
Smith of the Trial Lawyers says while his group's members generally support Democrats in the political sphere, those labels often don't apply to the job of judge.
Very often see flips between what are perceived to be conservative and liberal justices, and it's really not. It's just that that's how they view the law that's in front of them that they're reviewing.
Bullock says he thinks GOP criticisms of the judiciary are the real political gambit to undermine an independent branch of government that could stall parts of their agenda.
And it should be telling that right after the session's over, the Republican Party is actually sending out mailers attacking the judiciary. I think this may be as much about unconstitutional bills that the legislature passed, then it really is a statement on the fairness of the judiciary.
On that point, I guess we'll find out what judges and the Supreme Court think of those laws when they issue their rulings, regardless of whether those judges were elected, appointed, or who appointed them. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
6:35 now on the national scene. A Nebraska teenager died this week during his first workout with his high school football team in extreme heat. And 2 Atlanta area coaches are facing murder charges after one of their student basketball players died of heat stroke back in 2019. The cases are refocusing attention on the dangers young athletes face while exerting themselves in scorching hot temperatures. Anthony Pura has more this morning from Los Angeles.
16-year-old Drake Giger was excited about being a member of the Omaha South high school football team.
He didn't care if he was playing or on the sidelines. He just wanted to be a part of the team and around all the guys.
On Tuesday, the high school junior collapsed in 91-degree heat after the team's first water break.
The doctor came in and said his body was so overheated and his organs were working extra hard and that he was very, very sick.
Drake died that evening. Near Atlanta, Georgia, 2 high school coaches are facing murder charges after one of their players died during conditioning drills on a blistering hot day in 2019.
Gut-wrenching, heartbreaking. How could this happen?
Eric Bell's 16-year-old daughter, Imani, died of hyperthermia or heat stroke after collapsing at an outdoor basketball practice. Doctors urge students, parents, and coaches to make sure athletes are hydrated well before stepping onto the field and to recognize the warning signs of heat-related illness.
Headaches, nausea, vomiting, cramping, dizziness, just generally feeling unwell. During that time, you're sweating a lot.
Dr. Marie Schaefer of the Cleveland Clinic says when first starting to work out in heat, it's important to take a measured approach.
They start working out and, they forget that they haven't been as conditioned as they had been previously. We sometimes challenge our student athletes to work a little too hard.
And when an athlete starts acting confused or disoriented, that's a red flag.
Be proactive, pull that child from the game.
Imani's father has this message for coaches.
Every child that you coach, treat them like your own.
Doctors say each school should have an emergency action plan ready to keep their athletes safe from the heat. Anthony Pura, CBS News.
Anthony tells us media reports say at least 4 high school football players have died in less than a month during a practice or conditioning session. In other headlines, Butte Local Health Center celebrated National Community Health Center Week at a lunchtime barbecue yesterday. Southwest Montana Community Health Center served up hot dogs, gave away school supplies for kids, had some other activities. The events held to bring awareness of the nonprofits, which provides affordable and accessible health care to several counties in the Butte region.
But we recognize that we can help the community by being here to offer testing and to offer vaccination, as well as to see you if you're not feeling well. What we really want people to know is that even though there's still a pandemic going on, it's important to take care of your baseline health, so don't put off coming to see us.
Great advice there. The health center, by the way, also has clinics in Anaconda and in Dillon. Good for them. 6:38, time for a quick break. Here's what's coming up ahead, and then what's ahead on CBS This Morning.
The FDA weighs new rules about the chemicals in sunscreen, but what should you use right now? I'm Bradley Blackburn with the new advice to stay sun safe.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, we'll take you to Kabul as more Afghan cities fall to the Taliban and Americans prepare to evacuate. We'll talk with CIA insider Michael Morrell about the situation there and how the U.S. should respond. Plus, for the first time, music fans can see where the Beatles recorded their iconic hits. We'll take you inside the legendary Abbey Road Studios in London. And finally, Broadway star Audra McDonald will join us to discuss her role in the highly anticipated Aretha Franklin biopic, Respect. Could it ever have a different name? I don't think so. We'll see you at 7.